Her name is Adenike Oyetunde. Super excited to have her here. I've been trailing her for the longest, sending her emails, asking her to honor me and come have a conversation with me. You're welcome, madam.
Thank you so much, Jahsuper.
How are you doing this morning?
Good.
You know, first of all, I have to wish you a very big congratulations.
Thank you. What are you congratulating me on?
We have a president. Yes, it's about time. At least all that hustle can put to rest. We can just relax and continue with our lives.
I agree. I agree. We're still divided on several lines, but I think that we can just settle down a bit and hopefully expect that a lot more and positive things this time will happen in the next 4 years. I can only just continue to preach for peace and tolerance, and I'm excited. So one more weekend and electioneering would die down well, save for the election petition and all of the drama and the lawyers that will be cashing out.
That's right. I mean, you're a lawyer yourself, so I think you're one of the very few ones that will be cashing out.
I'm not a legal practitioner, so I'm not into getting any form of gratification, professional, financial, whatever, from the whole electioneering process and petitioning. But I think, to me, one of the most beautiful things about law is to sit down and pick up these things and read up and read all the defenses, the arguments, the counter defense, and understand that law can be beautiful. Especially when you're on the winning side. But when you're losing, it's like, all these lawyers say, I don't know what they're doing. but let's see. Fingers crossed.
It's in human nature to always want to win.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Still talking about the election, quite a number of people, like millions of people, had registered and got their voters card. But on the day of election, it was quite, appalling, the turnout. Not a lot of people came out.
I have a friend, Tunde Aluko, and Tunde was saying that what pained him the most was to see how over 5 million people picked up in Lagos, and how many registered voters did we get in Lagos? And, I sat back and I was thinking to myself, how many persons that I know, individually and personally, who wanted to vote the first instance and unfortunately couldn't. So much so that a friend of mine had to travel because she had to use a visa and it was expiring, so she had to use it, but she had delayed till the first weekend for the election, and then it was extended for a week. And then I started to ask myself, I know how many people it affected. I know how many people traveled all the way to their hometowns.
That's right. People that had moved their date for something else and had to cancel. A
lot of them could not vote. And for that reason, I knew that the turnout was going to be affected. I was very positive that the turnout would be affected. It just also shows us that I work on the music, a lot of the social media.
she said I record the music. That's true.
The social media noise. There was so much noise. And I just hope that people will sit back, look through the results as declared by INEC and ask ourselves, really, did we expect this? I saw the results for all the other political parties, and I'm like, you guys should have just formed a force. Even if they did come together, all their votes would not have gotten to 100,000.
Talking about people that actually went out to vote, I mean, you observed the election.
Oh, sure.
We were hoping everybody would come out, including people with disabilities. And being that you are a champion for, if you permit me, I would say that you championed the movement. What was your experience like?
Oh, okay. So observing the election for me, I love that I could move around really without anybody asking. I had all the kit and all that. It was kind of super cool. But I knew that a lot of people will not come out. And when I say a lot of people, I mean people living with disability will not come out. I observed the Austrian election last year, and I worked with Inclusive Friends. So basically, the Independent National Electoral Commission had spoken extensively that they will be rolling out the Braille ballot papers. And I was kind of excited. With the Jahsuper election, we had magnifying glasses, we had a data form to collect data, so we know the kind of disability that the people living with disability that come out to vote had, so that INEC can better prepare And on my observation, form, there's a part that talked about access in terms of the positioning of the ballot boxes.
Yeah.
And, if the polling unit officers had brought the ballot boxes to the persons living with disability.
Yeah.
And in Osun, for instance, a lot of it was not on flat surfaces. A lot of it, erosion.
It was a little difficult for reach.
And that was not any fault of anyone, because a lot of the places had been overtaken by erosion.
Yeah.
I went into the interlands in Osun, and I got to my village, and I'm like, oh my God, But I noticed that it was one thing to have these things on paper and one thing to have it, in practice, as almost is the case with a lot of things in Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, yes, a lot of people did come out with the Osun election because Inclusive Friends went all out and got all the support that they could. And they were doing consistent empowerment, education, and information of persons living with disabilities, so much so that what they did was to get people who lived in Osun State, educate them what to do, how to reach out to these PWDs, and encourage them to come out on the day of the election.
Yeah.
And a lot of them actually genuinely did come out. I was very impressed.
Okay.
I had seen people with visual impairment. I had seen people with physical disability of several sorts.
Yeah.
And so a lot
All
of
right,
people
you know what? We're
out.
going to come back and have more on this conversation. I particularly want to talk about something important. Welcome back to the Coffee Gang. This is also Adenike's favorite. She loves listening to music. You're welcome back. We're going to take you to the very top. If you're just joining us, by the way, you can get on the website at www.hotfm.ng/Lagos. Go look at the champ that I've been having this conversation with. Adenike is a cancer survivor. She's an amputee, a lawyer, and an on-air personality as well. I read up her bio. Adenike is passionate about spreading the word on cancer and other social causes. You recently launched Amputees United for amputee activism.
Yes.
Would you like to shed a little light on that?
Oh, yeah, sure. So from my personal experience, I've come to realizing that not only is it that I survived, thankfully and graciously, my fight against cancer, but then I had to realize that there has to be a safe haven for persons like me.
Yeah.
And I know that my call is not for caregivers. So it's basically a safe haven where we empower each other. We allow people to share their experiences. We allow you to be vulnerable. We do not provide prosthetic limbs, at least not yet.
Okay.
So it's predominantly someone reaching out and saying, how are you guys doing it? I've just recently found out that I'm going to have to amputate, my limb, and I'm disillusioned. I don't know how to survive. And we're just here saying, see, there's a 4-year-old somewhere in Ikoyi I'm a huge fan of, Baba Femi, and she's doing absolutely well. There is an 80-something-year-old also in Lagos who was amputated in the 80s.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the stigmatization that she had to be subjected to from then up until now. And if these people can here in Nigeria, then you have no excuse save to be, the fullness of who you are.
Yeah.
So, basically Amputees United is also, we're gearing up to providing working aids, work crutches, so to say. As simple as they look and they seem, not only can we not get them ready, available in Nigeria, so we're working on creating a drive where we'll raise some funds and just go around, give amputated persons who desire them crutches, because this journey has also exposed me to understand that some people just want a pity party. Unfortunately, I don't even have the energy and effort to sit down. I'm serious, to sit down and be crying with you. So it's a safe haven to understand that we're here. But one of the biggest problems that we have as a team is the fact that we don't even know how many we are in a state like Lagos. Recently, the Disability Act
was signed by the president.
And everybody was
for a long
dancing.
year. I mean, that bill has been
18 good years.
18 good years. Finally got signed. But it's one thing for them to have it in paper. It's another thing for them to
And then you took
to
it
act.
out of my mouth. In 2015, there was a replicate, well, maybe not in its entirety, in Lagos, the law, and the law says a lot of things. But But in 2019, and the question will continue to be how much of that law has been implemented here in Lagos that I am resident. I can tell you categorically next to nothing. But everybody is seemingly excited about the federal act.
Yeah.
I'm excited that there will now be a commission, geared towards promoting, improving, empowering our cause. But the reality is, who are the people that will constitute that commission? Will they be persons who genuinely want persons living with disability to be empowered? Because what I realize that quite a number of people, because of financial gains, will just want to continue to empower people by doling out cash, whatever it is. Sit these people down. There are things that they want to do. Empower them with a skill set. Empower them with education.
That's
Let them get these empowered. Let them then go out. Whatever it is they make for themselves is left to them. So am I overly excited that there is a federal law? Maybe, maybe not. But because I'm optimistic, I'll say, yay.
Hopefully.
Let's see how that
remain
goes.
Hopeful.
Because the act is now stating, amongst many things, that defaulters will be brought to book. But the question is, in Lagos, how many defaulters have we brought to book? None. So I'm aware there's a class action in Lagos. We're hoping that something positive comes out of that. Just to say, look, this law is in existence. Can we have you people do your job?
Yeah.
Start to penalize facility owners, building owners. Once you talk disability, everybody goes, there's ramp now, there's ramp. And you're wondering,
what ramp?
Do you realize that there's a wide spectrum of disability?
That's right.
How are you catering for all the other spectrum, say for physical disability? Last month, there was Ramp Up Nigeria on social media.
Yeah.
And I remember I reached out to the lady, who incidentally wanted to get into a banking hall and was in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
And she couldn't get into the banking hall. Why? Because security doors will not permit her. And, I told a friend, I said, I've been saying this for so long. My question to you, Jahsuper, is this morning, have you ever seen anyone on a wheelchair in Nigeria using an ATM?
Actually, no.
Exactly. Guess why? Because everyone in Nigeria who has an ATM card has to give their password to anyone nearby to help access their own account.
Yeah.
And you ask yourself, are we really a serious group of people in Lagos?
They barely even get into the bank.
You can't even enter. They're saying barely. You can't get, the wheelchair cannot fit into the doors. So, that's the reality. But with that backdrop, I'm now saying I wouldn't let that experience, discourage me about the, excitement that now we have a federal law, and we'll see what happens. There's a transition period, as there was in Lagos. The law comes in and says, we give you people 20 years. Let's see structurally if you people can make any difference.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that something positive will come from it. Am I genuinely excited about it? I'll be frank with you and say no.
Okay. All right. We still have Adenike Oyetunde in the studio having a brilliant conversation with her. When we come back, we delve straight into social media where she seems to have quite a number of following. And, she's been touching lives. We'll come back and talk about that. In the meantime, we're talking social media. She's been giving me tips on how to beef up my followership and whatnot. Right. Social media is such a fun and relatable space. It's where you can make money. It's where you can influence people. It's also where you can lose your identity if you misbehave. How have you been able to stay focused and not minding all the other distractions that you find on social media?
Distractions. I have never found myself in a place, and I'm being honest, where I seem to be distracted. I think the farthest of distraction that I possibly may have experienced with social media is spending much more time than I most likely anticipated that I would.
Yeah.
So what I did, I'm a YouTube person. So recently I activated the thing on YouTube and the thing just goes, okay, I've spent. I'm like, but I was just joking. But distraction, no. How have I'm just being me. I'm not on social media to influence anybody, to change any mindset, or to do anything. I would just share me. I'll be me. I'll share with the world as much as I want to. Okay. And keep to myself the bit that I want to keep to myself.
Yeah.
and conversations can be spread from there. I've also learned restraint on social media, and it's an everyday thing. Just last night, I typed this long epistle I was going to drop on the comments.
And then you just like, you know
just
what?
deleted it. I'm like, I beg.
No, beg.
I don't get energy. So that's something that I've had to learn through the years, restraint. And it's an everyday or possibly an every week thing where you see an opinion you disagree with.
Yeah.
And you just want to tell the person, nobody is saying don't have your opinion, but I think that it's wrong for you to say, you can't school everyone.
You also have to think about perception, how the person you're responding to might take this.
The person is someone that has to tie the wall to their chest. Now you are an enemy forever.
Yeah.
So social media has just helped me put out who I am to the extent that I want to share with the world.
Yeah.
And
how have you been able to use social media?
Social media has
helped
me meet a number of people.
Okay.
I've met people on social media. I've traveled to some places in the world that I almost got stranded.
I tell you, if you're looking for Adenike, just get on the gram right now. Wherever she is, you find her right there. She's always on social media, connecting with people. And that's such a beautiful thing if you don't know.
It's not really good, though.
Off mic, I told you how I used to brag a lot. Your topic comes up, and I know Adenike now. I used to carry her back then when we were in this radio station back in Lagos. Yeah, I mean, so it's such a beautiful thing to have people identify with you, your struggle, and your person.
I'll be honest to say that that part of my life is an everyday reality, and so that I'm not inundated with the pressure, because it comes with pressure.
Yeah,
I just stay focused. I'm learning to receive the accolades when they come. Very honestly, that's something I never learned to do.
It's deserving.
So social media has connected me with amazing people. Amazing people. I've had social media link me up with people. Like I was saying earlier, I almost got stranded. And then I just remembered that I messaged my friend when I was coming. I'm coming to your country, and boom, the person, somehow there was no internet. Person ordered a ride, and we ended up going to theirs, and that was the savior of the day.
Wow.
And I met this person on social. That was the first time I was meeting that person actually physically. And the person had told her husband I was coming. In fact, it was the husband that booked the taxi.
Wow.
And social media. Even in New York, when I got stranded, social media, somebody that come and save me.
Wow.
So I'm here asking myself, have I saved someone on social media? I have, equally. So it has its goods, and I'm excited. People have built businesses.
Yeah.
People have built networks.
Yeah.
I always say that I'm reaching people. I may not be reaching all the money, financial riches and all of that, but I'm very rich in people. And a lot of people have met.
Which is equally a powerful tool as well.
Absolutely.
If you have the numbers, they're ready to lay their lives down for you.
You own when I'm not their savior. So yeah, social media, good, bad, everything in excess has the disadvantage.
Let's talk about personal branding real quick before we. You have a book out.
Yes, sir.
A lovely book, by the way. The printing is amazing. It's colorful. I love it. I can't wait to read this book by Adenike.
You will cry if you want.
I want to cry. I haven't shed a tear in years. Her story, your movie, His Glory. We'll talk about this in a moment. But about personal branding. How important is personal branding?
What are you selling if you don't even know who you are as a brand?
Right on the head.
And if you don't know, how do you expect anyone to patronize you? So it's also a journey for me. I'd never say that I have it all figured out.
Yeah.
But the most interesting thing is I had to understand that I was bringing value to something.
Yeah.
So even if I wasn't attending your events per se, but I was putting on social media, it meant that there was a value I was adding to you. So it meant that I also had a brand attached, and people would respect my opinion.
So what's your brand? What would you say Adenike is selling?
Jesus is Lord. What kind of on the spot something? What is Adenike selling?
Yeah.
I think I am who motivational speakers teach you about.
Okay.
So I am that person. Adenike is resilience. Adenike, honestly speaking, Adenike is resilience.
We have a applause thing right here.
I don't know how people don't know that I host events. I hosted one last year, and people, the organizers go, we didn't. I'm like, you're right. So I then had to ask.
That's the inclusion we're talking about.
Exactly, and I had to tell them, okay, you know what? This is probably because I don't post as much pictures of. I don't host a lot. because I'll first tell you, what is it that you are doing?
Yeah.
You know, I've turned some down, you know, because I can't come and host an event I don't believe in the brand.
True.
It's someone said, your hunger never catch you. And I said to my friend, I said, I hope I never get there, you know. So I am who it is that they preach to you about. You see me, you're just hopeful. Like, you just get caught in I remember in university when I go back to school, gave me an award for most courageous. And my friend's father saw me and said, Nike, I didn't know that you fought a lion. I was lost. I was like, what? You know, I used to downplay it. I used to downplay the story that my strength carries, but now I no longer do it, because in an environment like ours, you realize that it's necessary for people to see that the push is also
brilliant.
necessary. So yeah,
brilliant. I'm guessing that's actually what inspired this book.
Yeah, the book has a lot. The book talks about growing up, talks about being an only child, talks about parenting. I shared extensively about my relationships with my parents and the role that a father plays in a child's life. So I'd always say that I'd never been one who ever suspected that I was never going to be in a relationship because I had one leg. And that's the honest truth.
Yeah.
The first person that affirmed me was my father.
Wow.
So there was nothing any boy anywhere in the world
would tell you that you don't
and I'm
know
not
already.
messing you.
Wow.
You know, and because I wanted that crowd of people that say I can't read book, I can't read book, I decided that, you know what, let's do the audio version.
Well do the audio version.
So every copy of the book comes with the audio version. And last week I was with Oscar, and Oscar was saying, I don't think you're making so much noise that there's an audio version. I said, what noise? What do you want me to do? So now I'm making the noise, you guys. There's an audio version. If you cannot read the book, you know, listen to it in your car and all of that. And it just shows that there was effort put to it, which is also reminiscent of personal branding.
Yeah.
So if I decide to do something, I can as well be excellent, you know, in it and with it. So yeah, basically the book is here.
Yeah.
Parenting, growing up.
Where can they find this?
Where can you find Adenike Oyetunde.com.
Okay.
It's on Amazon, it's on Kindle, Okada Books, Bamboo.
Everywhere. Just type in the name.
Girl,
as a matter of fact, if you just type in Adenike right now on Google, she's the first person that pops up.
Yeah,
I kid you not.
Yeah, huge
I kid you not. In view of time constraint, I do want to continue with this conversation, but we gotta go. But before we go, please, there's something you do on social media. I'm interested in that. I want to learn what it is. Something about the gratitude jar.
Oh yes. Okay, so
if you can just touch on that
very quickly, there's a handle on Instagram called the Gratitude Jar Challenge, and what it is, it's asks you to write something in your jar, whether it's a jar like mine or a journal that you're grateful for every single day. Because in 2016, when I started, I was inundated with the many, why hasn't this happened? Why hasn't this happened? And until I did the gratitude jar, I never understood the good things that had happened for so long. So it's also trying to guard your happiness because we're constantly inundated by the pressures and the things that have not come through, forgetting the things that have come through and we should be grateful for. So yeah, basically that's a summary of what the gratitude.
I'm definitely getting a jar today.
You can write a journal, you can pick up your notepad on your book phone.
In the house, you know, my Milo container. That's no advert, by the way. I could start with that. Well, thank you very much, Adenike Oyetunde, for stopping by. We really do appreciate you and keep pushing.
I will. It's keep hard.
Pushing
it's tough,
and touching lives.
Gotta keep doing it.
All right, let's have your socials.
Okay, so on Twitter is at Adenike Oyetunde. I had Adenike Oyetunde. I lost the password and I never retrieved it. So it's at Adenike Oyetunde. On Instagram, Adenike Oyetunde. Facebook, Adenike Oyetunde. And AdenikeOyetunde.com.
All right, thank you very much. Back to regular programming. We do have a couple more songs for your listening pleasure before 10. We'll be joined by Sheriff in the News, Marshmallow, and Marie coming up next with Friends.